Ladies and gentlemen, how is everybody doing tonight? Come on, it's the Bitcoin Hollywood Comedy Show. You've been listening about nodes and the IMF for 2 days. It's time for some jokes. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a fantastic show for you this evening, and to start it off is the man, the myth, the legend, Max Keiser!
Thank you, everybody. Is everyone having a good conference? Have you learned a lot? You know, people come up to me and they say, Max, how do I orange pill my friends? How do I orange pill my family? I'm really concerned about them. You know, the fiat money apocalypse is upon us, and these people are going into it woefully underexposed to Bitcoin. What can I do? And the answer is really, there's not much you can do. That's why I created, just for your friends and family, the program of Shitcoiners Anonymous. These people, it's not that they are going to gradually get Bitcoin. They need to bottom out on fiat money. They need to crash and burn on fiat money. So here are the 12 steps of Shitcoin Anonymous. And step number 1, admit you are powerless over shitcoins and your life has become a shit show and a flaming dumpster fire. All right? Does that apply? Step number 1. Step number 2, came to believe Bitcoin could restore us to sanity, you worthless degenerate. Step number 3, made a decision to turn our life over to Satoshi and the Bitcoin protocol. All right, that's an easy one. Bitcoin protocol is like God, but without all the frou-frou. 4, looked at yourself in the mirror and realized that you're a nasty shitcoiner. 5, admitted to Satoshi you're a dumbass shitcoiner. 6, got rid of your shitcoins and bought more Bitcoin. 7, tweeted at Max Keiser and begged forgiveness. Right? That's reasonable. Tweeted an apology to everyone you exit scammed. So this would apply to like Vitalik Buterin, Roger Ver, Craig Wright. These are all people who are eligible for Shitcoin Anonymous. These are all people who have to make amends for their exit scams. Try to pay those noobs back who you scammed. Never forget that you're a shitcoiner in heart and try not to be a dick. Pray to Satoshi often and dollar cost average at swanbitcoin.com/max. Oh, and also listen to the Orange Pill podcast and Orange Pill everyone you meet, including your dumbass family. Okay, so there's the 12 steps. Yeah, let's hear it for the 12 steps of Shitcoiners Anonymous. Fantastic. So here's another challenging people have is explaining economics. It's a difficult domain. It's hard to wrap your mind around it. So I've developed, just for this conference, a way to explain everything you need to know about economics and the use case for Bitcoin in a pretty simple way. So we start off with a dollar bill, and we have a penny. So with this dollar bill and with this penny, I can pretty much explain all you need to know about economics. First, we start with the penny. How much does it cost to produce a penny? It takes almost 3 pennies to make this penny. The government manufactures millions and billions of these pennies at a loss, and they do so continuously to make this penny. Meanwhile, how much does it cost to make this dollar? To make this dollar is virtually nothing. In fact, it's less than nothing because the money to make these dollars is borrowed and that debt is never paid back. So you're an infinite debt loop for eternity. So the cost of making this dollar is infinitely negative versus the cost of the penny, which is continuously going up. So the government relies on dollars, and the government makes dollars legal tender. And the government will continue to print these by the trillions, which of course will make the cost of manufacturing this penny, which is copper, which is a relatively scarce commodity, continuously go higher in price. So flash forward to a couple of years ago, when suddenly the biggest producer in the world, this is actually not the funny bit, this is kind of a serious bit, but you know, it adds a little pathos to the comedy, it gives you the full entertainment spectrum, I always say. So a couple of years ago, we had a change in geopolitics, and after 40, almost 50 years of US dollar standard, and US dollar as world reserve currency, where Americans are insulated against the price of copper and other commodities going up because everything is financialized, and we could buy stuff from other countries using these, which we just printed infinitely, and so we weren't experiencing something that other countries were experiencing, the I word, inflation. Inflation was dead, and people talked about the savings glut. Don't save money, spend. Go out there and spend. That's how you boost the economy. And we'll just keep printing. And you can buy everything you want with these things because the people making the stuff accept them. And we just print them by the trillions. Well, a couple of years ago, what happened was the biggest producer of stuff in the world over there in East Asia, I don't even want to say the name of the country, it'll get me deplatformed immediately. They decided that, basta, we're going to change the rules. We're going to actually be the ones determining the price of this stuff, and we're no longer going to be accepting this stuff for it. And then they have a buddy over there, contiguous with their country. It's a huge country where you can get some lovely sweet and sour soup. I don't know if I can mention the name of that country either, but they partnered with that country. And then there's another country over there that they're currently embroiled in a massive fandango in the Middle East. And they're like, yeah, we're on board too. We don't want to accept these anymore, particularly since you are the guys making these, all the commodities. So the dollar suddenly is in retreat, more so than it's been in years. And people, of course, are looking for the exit. As Christine Lagarde called it, the exit hatch, the escape hatch. We can't let you have Bitcoin. It's the escape hatch. Well, no kidding, you dumb shit. That's what we need. We're looking to escape you and the central bankers. And they went to war against Bitcoin, and they're continuing to be at war with Bitcoin. Now, to just fill in, we're actually in the coloring book, I'll start drawing in the picture in the coloring book, right? So Russia, invades Ukraine, but Russia's allied with China and Iran, and also South Africa and India, and over 50% of the world's population is allied against the dollar, and they have more than 50% of the world's GDP allied against the dollar. And the response by the people who print the dollars is to print more dollars. So that's their response. Why? Because for 50 years, it was never a bad idea to print more dollars. And it always worked until now it doesn't work. And so this is the conundrum we find ourselves in. This is why we see Bitcoin, which was really, in my opinion, designed to be a central bank killer. Remember, the Genesis block had Bank of England on verge of second bailout for banks. And so it's right there on the block and right there talking about it. So it's really, the central bank theme has been with us for quite some time. And never before in history has it been an opportunity for money to be separate from the state, right? And this has been really a dream of the Austrian economists. And it seemed like a thought experiment that could never possibly happen, because how could you separate money from the state? And of course, there's that video online of Friedrich Hayek, who makes a famous little aside during an interview that maybe by some sly roundabout way, a money could come around that the state couldn't control. And that would be proof of what I've been saying in my Austrian economics classes. Well, Bitcoin is that sly workaround. And for now 13, 14 years, it has been money. And it mimics this stuff. It's absolutely scarce. It's a synthetic, absolutely scarce digital commodity that has the remarkable attribute of irreproducibility. Once you produce a Bitcoin, you can't say, oh, I have something that's like a Bitcoin, because you're trying to produce something that's irreproducible. So this is one of the paradoxes, one of the idioms, one of the strange mathematical quandaries one finds oneself in when thinking about Bitcoin, is that once it was thought about, once it existed, once it came into being, you couldn't do it again. You couldn't do it twice, because that would destroy its appeal as being irreproducible money, and the network effect wouldn't kick in. It wouldn't be where we are today. That's number one problem. That's why 20,000 imitators of Bitcoin haven't worked. They haven't gained traction. They'll never make inroads, because they're trying to reproduce something that's irreproducible. And number two, of course, anything that comes after Bitcoin will, by nature, you could argue, to some extent, that it's a security. And that means that it's going to be open to scrutiny by security regulators. Here in El Salvador, when we arrived, one of the things we pushed for was to write a new securities law that says categorically that only Bitcoin is money and everything else is potentially a security. So everything else that shows up, any shitcoin that shows up, the reason you haven't seen any shitcoins in El Salvador is because they would have to go to the securities regulator and be registered as a security. And what happened, scam artists, just like common thieves, if you have a lock on your door, they'll go rob somebody else's house. So even just putting a simple law in there that says if it's not Bitcoin, it's a security, or you have to apply as a security, kept us free from Celsius, Terra Luna, and all this recent cycle scams. If you notice, none of them touched El Salvador, right? That's right. So we have, as I said, this has become less funny on this bit. So the acts coming after are going to be like very happy that this would be easy to get some laughs from this crowd, because they've been dying for laughs now for 12 minutes. It's like, please, we came to laugh, and why you're giving us the Safety and a Moose lecture. Well, let's see if we can wrap it up. I know what we'll do. We'll look at this. This is really the seminal work of my career. Everything I've worked toward and for is in the pages of this book, the Book of Max. And for example, when I come to conferences, people come to me and they say, "Oh, Max, please, will you sign my Book of Max that I got on Amazon?" It's the worst reviewed book on Amazon. All 7 reviews give it 0 stars, with comments such as, "This is the biggest ripoff I've ever experienced in my life." And this guy, Max, he seems to be a complete maniac. But this is the page people ask me to autograph most often. It simply says that nobody can jerk off to Rachel Maddow. Right? Here's a lovely page of me showing my testicles, all right? Go sun your balls. Bitcoin is the seducer. Bitcoin hits the G-spot in a loving way. So there I am exposing my, the taint, I believe that's called, in between the balls and the colon, the asshole. And you can see, I wish my dick was that big, to tell you the truth. We see in this photo. Well, I guess it is. Why not? Let's see, what other jewels of wisdom can you find in the Book of Max? Here's a have fun staying poor. This is actually, it's not mine, but I liberally stole it for my book. Somebody else came up with that. If you hear Michael Saylor saying funny, cogent comments about Bitcoin, and they sound deep and philosophical, know that he got them from this book. And I keep suing him for plagiarism, and he won't take my calls for some reason. I don't know why. And he didn't even invite me to the last party. I've been disinvited because I keep badgering him. I refer to Bitcoin as the G-spot of money. is kind of like for thousands of years, humanity was trying to find money's G-spot. And finally, with Bitcoin, they found it, right? There's a nice photo of Farrah Fawcett with my face. Okay. And there is the psychosexual aspect to Bitcoin. You know, I call it the big orgasm, the big global orgasm. We're heading toward the Bitcoin singularity, which is, you know, these blocks that come every 10 minutes. It's like a giant clock, and it's syncing up all of our thoughts and preconditions and perceptions and hopes and dreams are permanently stored, because every block permanently stores the past. It's immutable to past. And the difficulty adjustment means that the future is unknown. And what we're left with in the current block is the cosmic now, the cosmic present. Bitcoin gives us the present. It gives us a mirror to look at ourselves for who we really are. If you're Sam Bankman-Fried, you see in the mirror of Bitcoin a scumbag. And you attempt to defraud as many people as you possibly can. If you're Andreas Antonopoulos or maybe Michael Saylor, you see someone with moral integrity, and it brings that out. You see, it brings it out. It's the giant cleaving. It's the rapture. It's the second coming. It's the moment when we either evolve as a species or we stay trapped in the flaw that we were all inherited from day one, and that is to be overly greedy, right? So Bitcoin transmogrifies greed into altruism. So if you were God and you were up in heaven and you're like, you know, I'm cruising around the universe in my Tesla, and I'm going to visit, you know, the Milky Way, planet Earth, see what's happening down there. I remember I created everything down there. It was pretty cool. And you fly by and you're like, what the fuck? What happened here? You're like, wow, man, you know, the algorithm for greed was like overly clocked on these people. So we've got to hack in there. I tried once with my only son, and then they fucking crucified him, so I got to try again. So God hacked us by introducing Bitcoin in a way that turns this flaw that metastated into this grotesque version into Bitcoin. So everyone's madly mining Bitcoin, and everyone's hoarding Bitcoin and buying Bitcoin greedily to get rich, to get Lambo, right? To make it the most secure, the most scarce, the most unconfiscatable, hardest money ever in the universe. And the problem is that this has caught the attention of the aliens. Everyone is quite aware now that aliens are making a big appearance. The Pentagon is saying that we saw more aliens. Astronauts and aircraft, you know, pilots are saying, yeah, we saw aliens. So the aliens are like on the New Jersey Turnpike, like exit 9. You know, and they're getting closer. They're almost at the George Washington Bridge. They're almost at Gotham. They're coming here, and they're on their way, and they want our Bitcoin. So we have to prepare for this. You know, so make sure yourself, you know, custody your Bitcoin. At Swan Bitcoin, they have no, that's not an ad for Swan Bitcoin. But make sure, you know, you need to protect yourself against, obviously, they've got the super intelligence. The other thing that the devil is using to extricate our Bitcoin is artificial intelligence, or AI, or as some might call it, artificial stupidity. So with AI, it's basically just narcissism taken to the degree and the power of narcissism. And this is an attempt also to extricate our Bitcoin. So the aliens and the narcissistic AI bots are all coming for our Bitcoin. How do we defend ourselves, and how do we make sure that we are triumphant against the aliens and the AI bots? And that is through the hash rate of Bitcoin. If you notice, the hash rate of Bitcoin is skyrocketing because Bitcoin is self-aware, and it's mining and hashing and using up that energy. In the end of this period that will bring in the Bitcoin singularity and the second coming and the rapturous reappearance of Satoshi will be the battle for energy between AI and Bitcoin. They both need energy to survive. And that's what Bitcoin, if you look at that hash rate, is telling you is preparing for an epic battle like Godzilla meets Mothra for energy. At Volcano Energy, and believe it or not, I'm the chairman of Volcano Energy, we're preparing here in El Salvador. We've got 17 volcanoes. We're all going to geothermically mine those volcanoes, and we're going to prepare every Salvadoran for this epic battle against the aliens and the AI bots. I invite you to join us, to move to El Salvador. This is the savior. This is the ark. When the AI and the alien bots come to take your Bitcoin, this will be the only place on planet Earth that you're safe. And I invite you to join us. I want you to be part of the revolution. I want you to be part of our saving, of our ark, of our Bitcoin singularity. Will you join me? Look at that. Well, I told Graham I would do 20 minutes, and by golly, I have done 20 minutes. Thank you so much. See you around.
Max Keiser, ladies and gentlemen. Max was going to stay longer, but he's got to go give Gary Gensler a massage, so he's got to take care of that. Are you guys having fun? Did you guys have fun these 2 days? You been having a blast? One more round of applause for Max Keiser, ladies and gentlemen. Taking time out of his busy schedule, doing comedy shows in ERs all across the world. Well, normally I'd be up here, folks, but you guys got a special treat. We got a special treat tonight. You've seen him on some of the panels. He wanted to come up and tell you some of his stories. He's very excited to be here. Give a big warm welcome to Giacomo, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a lie. I will steal just 1 minute of your time. I don't know why I'm here. So let me tell you about my story. I just wanted to be taken seriously in Bitcoin. That's all I wanted. So I go on stage a few years ago. I try to make a very technical discussion, showing off my technical knowledge, and everybody's laughing. I guess it's just because of the funny Italian accent, so I try to make a compelling, like, cypherpunk ideological argument, and people laugh. Oh, funny Italian accent. So I don't know why Kemal is asking me to come here. I have no idea. Basically, he brought me on stage dressed like a beach guy into the freezing room. I don't know if in English you say that when somebody tries to be funny but has nothing funny to say, you say that there is, like, in Italian we would say gelo, like people are freezing, it's very cold. So this is literally polar temperature. I'm dressed like this. At least Max has a jacket, and I have nothing to say, nothing funny to say. I just wanted to be taken seriously, and they put me here between a professional comedian, Graham, and a guy that, I mean, is not a professional comedian, but he's sunballing and doing other stuff that make people laugh. So I literally nothing funny to say. I asked everybody, please not ask me to be funny. I'm trying to be serious, and here I am. So sorry, and let's go now with a serious person that will seriously make you laugh, which is Graham Elwood. Thank you.
Yes! I love it when a performer apologizes. That's my favorite thing. Well, this is awesome, you guys. First of all, I just want to thank Kamal and Noor for putting this together. What happened? The mic just crapped out. Okay, there it is. Give them a round of applause, you guys. Come on. I think my mic crapped out because Vitalik is trying to hack the fucking show. That's what's going on. It's been fun, right? 2 days of just, like, walking down the hallways and not having to walk up to people in this conference and explain to them what Bitcoin is. Isn't that just a great 48 hours of not going, no, you gotta do it, you gotta do it. That's we've all done it, right? We've all over orange pilled people. We've all sounded crazy, you know? We all think we sound like well, I'm just giving them sound financial advice, but then we all sound just like fucking an Amway Scientologist. Like, we just sound like just crazy. Just like, no, it's the future. The fucking central banks are going to eat your children. You got to fucking do it. Sell everything. Buy a Bitcoin. It's so great. And then, you know, it's great hearing, too, about Michael Saylor. You guys Michael Saylor fans, right? He's out there. Yeah, the thing about Bitcoin is it's the apex predator. You know, I mean, imagine if you bought a ham sandwich in 1876, or you bought a ham sandwich in 1976 and it appreciated in value. I mean, just imagine what that would be. You know, Bitcoin is the apex predator. I have a friend of mine who thinks I'm a crazy crypto person, but they know who Michael Saylor is, and I just once a week leave that voicemail on there. Just once a week. Do that to your friends. Just call them and just go, yeah, imagine if you had a digital car wash that had 21 million car washes, and they were divisible by 100,000. Just any subject just sound like Michael Saylor. Drive your friends nuts. Yeah. I'm excited to be here and to doing all this stuff because it's great, right? You think about the last 3 years, the COVID, everything was shut down. I'm glad we're just out. Everyone's celebrating like we're back to normal, which is cool. It was a crazy time for all of us. I think we all had a little PTSD from COVID, right? And I'm curious to see how that's going to show up 20, 30 years from now. I just picture some kid in the year 2040 like, Mommy, what's wrong with Grandpa? Well, he was on a Zoom call and he had to ask someone to unmute themselves and he just lost his shit. He just went fucking nuts. Just fucking, we do this meeting every goddamn week when there's a red line to the fucking microphone. You know you're unmuted and yo fucko, we do this fucking meeting every fucking week. Graham, your mic was on when we heard you. Sorry, I was Michael Saylor, hit the mute button. Yeah, it was a crazy time. I was single living alone when the whole quarantine happened. I had to kind of I think we all learned a lot about ourselves. What I learned as a guy, single, living alone during the quarantine is that when I told my friends that were married with kids that I was feeling a little isolated, they didn't give a shit at all. They didn't care at all. They were just like, oh, you're all alone in your apartment? You don't have your spouse and your kids crawling up your ass 24/7? Must be nice. What, did you go on a bike ride alone? Boo-hoo. I wish I was in my apartment alone crying in the dark. At least it would have been quiet. Like, oh, I guess I'll just rewrite my suicide note. Thanks for your support. Being single, too, especially, I feel like there was way more single people before COVID. I think COVID hit and everybody just paired up. Right? Everyone just went, oh shit, apocalypse. You, date, you, me, you, let's do it. Let's make it happen. It's like the music stopped and there's no chairs for me. That's what I feel like. And then is there anybody, by applause, anybody single here? By applause, you raise your hand. Outstanding. Thank you so much. Polite Bitcoiners. Way to verify. Appreciate it. Yeah, so if you talk to any of your friends that are like in serious relationships or married, if you say like, oh man, dating's kind of hard, do they always say this bullshit to you? Just like, you gotta love yourself first. You know, fall in love with you. Take Graham out on a date. I'm like, okay, a friend of mine said that to me, like, Graham, take yourself out on a date. And I was like, all right, I guess, maybe that'll work, you know, I guess. If I could suck my own dick, that'd be really great. I do yoga, but I can't really, you know what I mean? That's kind of hard to verify. That's a Bitcoin blowjob jokes, folks. You're only going to get that here at the festival, at the conference. Dick sucking and Bitcoin. That's what this show's all about. You guys, anybody want to come up here and mine some of my Bitcoins? Come on, I got a blockchain for you. I can do dick jokes all night with regards to Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. This just shows you can make anything into a dick joke, right? Oh, good for you. But Bitcoin does solve a lot of problems, right? Anyway, that got weird. Yeah, so in the middle, I was living in Los Angeles. I've been living there a long time. The pandemic, everything got nuts. Los Angeles, like a lot of cities in the States and around the world, went crazy. You know, everything was going nuts. So I was working online and doing content and stuff. So I moved to Kauai, in the island of Kauai is in the Hawaiian. I don't know if you know that. It's part of Hawaii. And it was amazing. And I moved there, and it was like once in a lifetime opportunity. I know a lot. I've talked to so many people at the conference. They're just like, yeah, everybody, we moved here. We moved to Barbados. We moved to this. We moved to that. Which is like, we're all like Bitcoiners working online. Like, fuck it, I'm out. Like, we're just kind of, part of us are a little bummed it all hasn't completely gone belly up, right? Isn't that kind of a sort of Bitcoiners are kind of like waiting for it a little bit? But I went to Kauai in the middle of the pandemic, and the island was completely shut down. I had to quarantine for 14 days. There was no tourists allowed on there. It was empty. I was completely desolate. I was out there surfing with 3 people. I'd hike to see Nobu. It was fantastic. It's a beautiful island if you ever get a chance. The people are very nice and very, like, it shuts down early. Even when things before the pandemic, like, that island gets dark. At 8:30 at night, things are shut down. And when stuff like a year or so or two started opening back up, one of the local restaurants was like, hey, what about we stay open till 9 o'clock on Saturdays? And the locals were like, 9? What the fuck? This ain't Vegas. Shut that shit down. Like, 9. And it's a quiet island except for the roosters on that island. There's just roosters 24/7 on Kauai. And they're just like, bah, 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 bah. bah, bah, bah. They're like nuts. I thought roosters only got up early in the morning. Not on Kauai. They're like fucking alcoholics. Like, it's 5 a.m. somewhere. Bah, 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 bah. And I don't know if you've ever seen chickens or roosters. You see them here in El Salvador, right? When you go up to them, they get scared and kind of skitter away, right? Not on Kauai, man. There's some thugged out fucking roosters on that island. I'm not making this up, right? So I get out of quarantine. My first day, I drive up to this beautiful lookout on the Kapa'a side of the island, and it's gorgeous. It's Hawaii. It's like as beautiful as this place. It's gorgeous, and I'm taking a bunch of photos, and like way over there is like 30 or 40 chickens and roosters. I'm not paying attention to them at all. I'm just taking photos, just bragging to my family back in Chicago, like, aha, how's your COVID? Ha ha, click, 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 And then after like a minute or two, I'm surrounded by all the roosters and shit, right? And I'm like trying to scare them away. I'm like, hey, they're not scared at all. And they start chasing me. I'm not making this up. I get into my car. This is on my YouTube channel. One of the roosters jumps on the hood of my car, and I'm like trying to get it off. I'm honking and I'm stopping and starting my car, and it's just sitting there just like a thug, man, just like riding it, just like looking at me. Now, granted, I had a Nissan Leaf, so it wasn't like a real big flex, It was like but I finally stopped, and this rooster tilted its head, looked at me right through the windshield like a gangbanger, just like, you're in the wrong neighborhood, ese. You fucked up, Holmes. Stop honking that put the horn. I was like, oh, shit. I got to get back to L.A., Like a meth head with fake tattoos and a knife. Like that I can handle, but thugged out roosters, I was like, what the fuck? I don't want this shit. So yeah, it's been interesting. Like I said, I live in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is interesting statistic about Los Angeles, California. It has the highest percentage of people of any city in the world that use the term, just manifest it. Yeah, they just manifest it. Just think it. You can make it happen. You can just make a chakra crystal come out of your yurt. It's amazing. Just like, wow, all these white ladies with superpowers. Who knew this was a fucking holy shit? They just think shit and it happens. Oh my God, they just fucking manifested a $100 yoga mat. Who the fuck saw that? Like, wow. I was like, are any of you girls gonna fucking manifest like ending homelessness or stopping the military-industrial complex? No, just an $800 baby scooter for your dog? Okay, cool, thanks. Thanks for manifesting. Yeah, we appreciate that shit. You guys are great. Yeah, so I did that joke at a show in Hollywood, California. And a woman came up to me after the show. Yeah, you know what's coming, right? She came up and she was all mad. She was a manifester. She's like, Graham, manifesting works, and I've done it. And look at the like she was just, I think she had like a Hindu name for Karen. And she was just like, manifesting works, and I heard her, say this. She goes, that's how I manifested my clothing store. And I was like, isn't that the one your parents helped you with? I'm like, oh, fuck, that's what I forgot to do. Manifest a trust fund. Oh, shit, there it is. Damn it. But she wouldn't let it go. She's like, actually, well, Graham, look at you. You manifested becoming a professional comedian. I was like, all right, I'll give you that. You're right. I have, thought long and hard. As a young man, I was like, one day I want to be a professional comic and do a show at a Bitcoin conference in front of a bunch of people that have checked out of society. That's my goal. In a country that the IMF is actively trying to shut down. This is where I want my career to go. But I said, all right, I'll give you that. I give you that. Yes, I manifested becoming a professional comedian. But I said, I'm lucky I live in a country where that's even a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, third world countries, you don't get to, like, pick what there's not a guy in Yemen right now going, this horrifying proxy war between the evil American empire and the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, at the behest of Iran, causing the worst humanitarian crisis the world has ever known. But I'm sure it will end once Mercury gets out of retrograde. Then I will manifest my vision board dream of owning my own Pilates studio. #blessed. Yeah, that hasn't happened. So yeah, I have kind of a dark view of the world. I don't know if you picked that up. Which is why I actually love Bitcoin, because it's very hopeful. You know, it's a very hopeful thing. And you know, I do 2 podcasts. One's called Political Vigilante, and one's called Government Secrets, where we talk about fun stuff. You know, just like how the CIA killed Kennedy and Epstein and stuff like that. Just kind of fun, kind of silly, kind of spring break, kind of summer read, kind of rom-com sort of. The world's run by a bunch of billionaire pedophiles. Anyway, how are you guys doing? Yeah, it's so funny too when people say like, "Oh, you Bitcoiners! Bitcoin's a cult." Really? Oh, back of the U.S. dollar has a fucking Illuminati symbol on it. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're the cult. Right. Total. We're the cult. We're the crazy cult that just wants equity and monetary system. While yeah, you found cocaine in the White House, but can't seem to find any of Epstein's co-conspirators. Sure, sounds fair. Feels fair to me. Anyway, that's what we talk about on my podcast. And so I've always had a P.O. box on my website, and people send me stuff. And it's funny to see the shift. When I used to be just a comedian, I had a movie podcast called Comedy Film Nerds, and people would send me like fun books about movies, like Star Wars trivia, or like somebody sent me, this is an actual book, they're from Pittsburgh, and I had just done a show in Pittsburgh, and they're like, here's a book of all the movies shot in Pittsburgh. I'm like, this is cool. And now that I do Political Vigilante and Government Secrets, I just get the most fucking Sesame Street and the CIA, you know? How Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy were running a honey trap in Ecuador. Like, oh, fuck, really? Holy shit. So yeah, I'm very jaded. Here's why I'm jaded. My father was a college professor, and if you or anybody you know have college professor parents, you know that as a kid growing up, everything was a learning experience, right? You couldn't just have fun when you have college professor parents. Everything had to be some, you know, doctoral thesis. So when I was a kid, my dad, he had a PhD in German theater history, which is fun right there when you're a kid. Holy shit. I mean, my friends are learning about Disney characters and superheroes, and I'm learning about, you know, Goethe and Bertolt Brecht, and those guys are a fucking riot. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's nothing that gets a kid excited than German existentialism. It's really fun. Read it to your kids. So he had a Fulbright, which is a research scholarship, so we spent a year in Germany. And for the whole year, all we did was go to museums and castles. I'm like a kid like, Dad, don't they got a fucking go-kart track in this goddamn country or something? So one of the field trips my father took us on was we went to Dachau. Yeah, that's a concentration camp, folks. That's a lot of fun. And they hadn't built the water slide yet. And so here's the age breakdown of me and my siblings. My oldest sister was 14. All right, that's probably the age you should learn about, you know, the Holocaust and the realities of the world. My other sister, 11. Okay. My brother was 9. That was too young. I was 6, folks. I was 6 years old. I brought this up to my dad a couple years ago. I said, Dad, don't you think 6 was a little young to bring a child to a concentration camp? And all he said was, yeah, I guess we didn't really think that through. Oh, thanks, Pop. Really appreciate that. That's how Gen X was parented. Just like, well, go play in the concentration camp, kids. So I was jaded from the jump, right? When we moved back to the States, the first day of school, the teacher was going around the classroom like, what did everybody do on their summer break? Like, you know, like, little Robbie, what did you do? Oh, me and my dad and my brother, you know, we built a go-kart track. Oh, that's fun. And Susie, what did you do? Oh, we learned how to make a campfire in the Girl Scouts. It's like, Graham, what did you do? I went to a death camp. Lost faith in the human race. There's no God. Well, why don't you make that into macaroni art for show and tell? That'll be a fun night. So I like Bitcoin because it kind of infuses my skepticism with a ray of hope, right? There's a ray of hope. But people always ask, oh, you're a comedian, Graham. You must watch a lot of comedy shows. No. I watch documentaries about cults. Those are the best, man. Watch a cult doc, you guys. If you haven't, please watch a cult doc. They're amazing, especially if you're having a bad day. You know, if you're beating yourself up like, man, I've made some bad decisions in my life, watch a cult doc. Because I guarantee you, you've never done something as dumb as join a cult. Holy shit. I always get about halfway through these documentaries about cults, and I'm like, how fucking dumb were these people? How did you not see this shit? I mean, I get it. They always start out with noble intentions, right? So as a group of people trying to do, like, they got some religion, they want to save the world, a bunch of hippies living off the grid, growing their own food, you know what I mean? Like, this is awesome. No more war, no more capitalism, right on, yeah. But then there's these obvious red flags, man. Like, the cult leaders always have crazy eyes and jacked up haircuts. Like, it's so fucking obvious. Everyone here has different haircuts, different ways of expressing yourself, but no one's got a crazy haircut where you're like, this fucking guy is nuts. You know what I'm saying? There's one documentary on HBO, this woman, she's got this huge, like, blonde tidal wave haircut, and her whole thing was so obviously is a scam. She's like, Jesus wants you to give me $10,000 to lose weight. Like, come on. They all have matching outfits, right? That's such a dead giveaway. If any of you walked in late, like you walked in right now, and I was on stage with like a robe and a sash, and everyone was wearing the same outfit, you'd walk in and go, oh, where's the comedy show? This is obviously a cult rally or some shit. Is it the Galois stage is where the comedy? This is a cult, cool, awesome. And then in the interviews with people in the documentaries years later, I'm sorry, they sound so fucking dumb, I can't handle it. They're always like doing interviews like, well, one time we were all doing yoga and the prophet walked in and he stuck his thumb in my butt. And I was like, well, this seems weird. But then he whispered in my ear, the second knuckle brings enlightenment. So, I mean, who could have known? Everyone, you fuckhead. So yeah, we gotta acknowledge where the cults are. Like, America is a cult. And it has its little subcults. It's two little culty political parties, and it's all that business. It's got a lot of cults in it, you know. Florida's a cult. A little bit of crazy. Florida does some crazy shit. I know some of you are like, I love Florida. That's cool. I got friends who live there. Here's the thing with Florida. I know people who live in Florida. Smart, sharp people. I've done shows there. I think what happens is Florida attracts a lot of people in America that have run out of options. You know? Because you ask anybody in any other city, and I'm not talking about COVID. Before COVID, everyone moved for crazy reasons. But before COVID, you'd ask any other city in America, or in the world for that matter, like, hey, why'd you move? And they'd say, well, we moved to Dallas because my wife got a new job or whatever. Or yeah, like, our daughter's having a baby, so that's why we moved to Chicago. It's cool. It's like, why'd you move to Florida? And I'm not talking about the retirees either. People who move to Florida in the middle of their lives, they always have a shady reason. It's like, hey man, why'd you move to Florida? The courts up in Massachusetts are all fucking little shady ass. I don't want to deal with that bullshit. And I'm like, we got to come to grips with the fact that maybe America is the Florida of Earth. I know there's a lot of foreigners here, and a lot of you guys are like, what the fuck is wrong with America? Like, what the fuck is going on there? I'm like, I wish I had an answer, bro. I'm just trying to stack sats and move to El Salvador, so I don't know what the fuck to tell you. And I think we got to come to grips with the fact that maybe Earth, like the human race, maybe Earth is the Florida of the galaxy. You ever notice how the UFOs never land and get out and just start hanging out and talking to us? Right? They've never just landed once and go, hey, we're from another planet. How are you guys? Are Earthlings? Cool. They just fly by. This is my theory. They're teenagers borrowing their parents' spaceship, and they're just coming to Earth on like a dare. You know, their parents are like, you can have your father's spaceship, but do not under any circumstances go to Earth. They're out of their goddamn minds. Your uncle went there in the 1950s. They captured him. They've been sticking stuff in his ass in Area 51 ever since. No, we're not. We're just going to go to Chad's and do homework, you know. They get in the spaceship. There's like the two older guys in the front and the younger brother in the back, you know, and they're just like, yo, we got to go to Earth. Little brother's like, Mom said we're not supposed to. Dude, it's fucking nuts. You got to see these people. We won't get out. We'll just you got to see them. They fucking fight each other over money and oil and war and fucking religion. They're fucking out of their minds. They draw lines on a map and go, that's my country. No, that's mine. And fucking kill each other over that shit. They're so fucking stupid. They need breathable air and drinkable water supplies, and they fuck that shit up for more of this money nonsense. They believe in all these stupid gods and religions. They're out of their fucking minds. But yo, they got the best weed. So that's my theory on spaceships. That's my theory on spaceships. So yeah, what else can I share with you? I live in like I said, America's got a fantastic democracy. Got a thriving political system. People always ask me, Graham, there's some people in America, they get mad. You know, they're either for one of the parties or the other, and they're like, they always tell me, this is why my party's better than the other one. I go, here's the difference between the two parties in America. The Republicans would skull fuck a puppy to turn a nickel, and the Democrats would skull fuck a puppy and then put a rainbow flag on it and go, the diversity of puppy skull fucking. Yay, inclusion. All right, you guys like fucking puppies. That's cool. Whatever, man. I'm not going to judge you. Oh, man. You know, the American media is a joke. You know, it's so hilarious to watch them. Well, the media all over the world is pretty full of shit. American media is so funny. They got that fake. It's like, it's not even journalism anymore in America. It's like infotainment, you know? It's just like these actors, they're all beautiful in America. They're just like these beautiful TV actors. And they all got that fake laugh between stories, you know? Looks like it's going to be a wet weekend, huh, Bob? But hopefully not too wet for the big ball game, right, Dan? They're just like, and then whatever the big story of the day is, and maybe the one we should be paying attention to or something like that, they always put it next to the dumbest story ever, you know? Just like, oh, central banks are going to force everybody into a CBDC. But first, a Florida man whose bakery has gone to the dogs. Then they show like a man pushing a puppy with oven mitts on, pushing a cake tin into a stove, just like, those look like some doggone good muffins, huh, Bob? Oh, man, it's so funny to watch the bullshit once you pay attention. Like when Silicon Valley Bank went under in March and all the banks started going under and all of us Bitcoiners were like, yep, told you. And Joe Biden gets on TV and goes, your money's safe. I was like, oh my God, he said it. That is a get the fuck out moment if you've ever heard one. I was like, when a politician or when the president says that, it's literally just the tip of financial planning. Just the tip. I'm just going to put in just the tip. It's just the tip. No. Don't look back. Just bend over. Just the tip. Your money's fine. I think America should, some states have legal weed. I think America should have weed legal across the whole country. And I'm completely sober. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke or drink. But here's why I think weed should be legal. First of all, America's on the brink of civil war, which they're manufacturing. But I think weed would mellow that whole country out. You know, everyone just smoke a little fucking weed, you know. Like if Trump smoked weed when he was president, he wouldn't want to build a wall around Mexico. He would have just been down at the border going, we should start a music festival. If Biden smoked weed, he might remember who he is or where he's at, or that'd be kind of fun. My favorite is when Biden's giving a speech and he looks between the two teleprompters and forgets. That's why America should always... What the fuck is this? What is this going on? This is like great. That's our leadership. No, here's why I think weed should be legalized all over the world, really. It should just be legal. Everyone should be allowed to smoke weed. Because I've been working in bars and nightclubs since I was 18 years old, so I understand the difference between weed and alcohol. There's nothing wrong with having a couple of cocktails, some beers. There's nothing wrong with alcohol, right? But here's the thing with alcohol. Everybody has a number of drinks. When you hit that number, ding, you become an annoying fuckstick. I don't give a shit who you are, man. Your grandmother, she gets drunk, she's just going to be like, Vegas! Like, Nana, no. Put your shirt on. Like, give me beads. Nana, no. Right? I'll give you a great example. You know, drunks are always looking for fights and trouble, right? So I was doing a show in Dallas, Texas. A buddy of mine I went to college with came to my show. After the show, we go out and we're shooting pool. having a great time. He's having a couple of beers. It's all good. We're catching up. How you doing? Hadn't seen him in forever. How's the family? Awesome. Then he starts going, shots. Let's do shots, right? So then all of a sudden, ding, he hits his number. Then this fun night becomes an argument for no good goddamn reason. All of a sudden, he's like, yo, man, Graham, I fucking love hanging out with you, bro. I'm like, Mark, great seeing you too. No, man, I fucking love hanging out with you. I'm not arguing with you, fucknut. Like, that's the thing. Drunks go looking for fights and trouble. Stoners don't go doing that. They go looking for a PlayStation and a burrito. You know what I'm saying? The biggest act of aggression a stoner will commit is trapping you in a long, nonsensical conversation with no ending or point. But it's harmless. There's no fights happening. It's just, yo, chemtrails, bro. That's why they're doing it. Yeah, I know, totally, dude. Buy Bitcoin. And then you walk away. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? Just plant that seed. So I'll share a couple more things with you guys before I get out of here. I also got into, I'm really into yoga. Yep, doesn't get an applause. That's all. I get it. You guys are like, oh, Graham's part of the problem. No, I really got into it because I had really bad, like 10 years ago, I was flying at like 100,000 miles a year doing comedy, and so I had really bad chronic hip and back pain, and it got so bad that I had to call my doctor up, and I was like, yo, doc, I got really a lot of pain. I'm like my left side of my body, and it's tingling. Like, we should set up an appointment. Do not ever say left and tingling to a physician. They will lose their shit. He was just like, oh my God, you could be having a heart attack. Get yourself to the hospital right now. You are on borrowed time. Do not drive, get a friend, or take an ambulance. You could be having a stroke or a heart attack. I was like, fucking thanks, bitch, damn. My buddy was driving me to the hospital in LA, and I thought I was freaking out. I was like hugging him like, all right, this is it. If I die, you get my surfboards. Like, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? And they run, nice snort. Who the fucking snorted? Holy shit. That was awesome. Snorting is like, that goes on the resume if I make someone snort in a show. That was fantastic. That was awesome. Like, right on. That was deep. That's like dentures coming out kind of snort. Like, awesome, bro. Fuck yeah. That was sweet. I don't even remember what I was talking about. That fucking snort changed time. Oh yeah, I know. I remember now. No, my buddy's taking me to the hospital, and so they run all these tests on me. And they're like, it's not a stroke or a heart attack. We don't know what it is, so we're going to give you an MRI. I'd never had an MRI. The technician gives me 2 earplugs. He says it's about an hour and 15 minutes. Just try to sleep through it. Yes, you've had an MRI. The woman laughing. Trying to sleep in an MRI, for those of you who haven't had one, is like trying to sleep in a metal trash can while kids hit it with sticks. But I did not know this, right? So I'm in this, and the first 30 seconds, the MRI machine just like hums. So you're in basically a fucking coffin. Like, I'm trying not to freak out. I'm just sitting there like, when the machine's just humming, going, and I'm just talking to myself like, all right, you're not going to die. It's okay. They're going to figure it out. It's not a stroke or a heart attack. You're going to be fine. They're going to, it's like a fire alarm for your life. Just like, you're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to do a show for a Bitcoin conference in front of 43 people in a ballroom, one of them snorting to death. So I got out. They turned out it was just a pinched nerve. Oh, awesome. Thank you for the scaring, doctors. And they told me to start doing physical therapy. After physical therapy, they said just keep doing yoga. So I've been doing yoga. Before I talk about yoga real quick, I'm going to say this. The worst part about chronic back pain is not the discomfort. It's everybody's stupid suggestions on how to make it better. Yeah, if you've had chronic back pain, people always come up, oh, you've had back pain for 2-3 years? Have you tried a seat cushion? Oh, fuck, there it is, seat cushion. Okay, yeah. 2-3 years of doctors and chiropractors and MRI and physical therapy and hundreds of hours of my life and thousands of dollars because America, the richest country in the history of the world, is a bullshit for-profit healthcare system that could be fixed with the blockchain. But anyway, yeah, all these medical professionals that have decades of a combined education, training, and experience, and they all missed seat cushion. Do you walk up to blind people and go, have you tried opening your eyes? Just let the light in. Just manifest it. So I got into the yoga. I love yoga. And but when I took my first yoga class, I was like, oh man, you know what? Someday I could be a yoga teacher. No, there's no way. There's no way I could be a yoga teacher. Here's why. I've been a stand-up comic since I was 18 years old, which means two things. One, I have no marketable skills. Two, everything's a joke, folks. Everything is a joke. I spend 2 hours a night at the comedy club joking on stage or with the other comics. The other 22 hours out of the day, I am telling myself, don't say that. Don't make that joke. Cops don't find that funny. Don't say that. The DMV lady's not going to like that joke, so don't say it. So this is what I would do if I was a yoga teacher, right? I'd get everybody in class, and I'd play that music, that bing, boom, whatever, And I'd be like, all right, guys, this is your 60-minute yoga class. This is your time. Turn your phones off. Let go of everything you have to do outside the yoga studio, your job, your family, your kids, your responsibilities, your bills. Let that go, all right? We're going to center and focus our mind, body, and spirit today. That's what we want today to accomplish, all right? I want everybody to just breathe and let it go, okay? And our first pose is going to be the tree pose. This leg's going to be our root. We're going to open up like this, and if you fall out, it's okay. It's not a competition, all right? Just let go of needing to be great, Just be today, okay? And then we're going to strengthen our arms and don't crunch up our shoulders, right? We have so much tension from driving and on the laptop and the phone, okay? And just breathe, okay? I'm going to piss in your mouth. People would be like, did he just, there's no way. That's, second knuckle brings enlightenment. Anyway. All right, I'll end on this. You guys have been fantastic. How many Americans are here by applause? Raise your hands. Thank you so much. Thank you. You guys are like, a ChatGPT could have created that clap, so we're going to do this verify style. Then everyone can see it. Everyone, the whole blockchain in the room can verify the hands raised. Thank you so much. So yeah, I used to be really into, American football, the NFL, and it's kind of hard for me to watch now because it's obviously so corporate and all that stuff, and all the ads are just like, they push the war machine and just like beer truck steak gun boobs, the new Ford F-150 bacon wrapped gun boob or whatever they're selling. And I mean, I like boobs, but not like angry, like boobs, like Jesus fucking. And the thing is none of the ads are for me, right? I'm a vegetarian, I meditate, I do yoga, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I drive an electric car, I'm not making any of this shit up, right? So none of the ads are for me, but I wish they would make ads for hippie weirdos like me, but still NFL style, Just like, hi, I'm head coach of the Chicago Bears, and when I'm making vegan smoothies for my team, I use Blue Diamond almond milk. Blue Diamond almond milk, the official organic unsweetened almond milk of the National Football League. NFL, plant-based life. The 2023 Nissan Leaf, the official zero-emission vehicle of the National Football League. Plug it in, charge it up, and hit the open road. Up to 123 miles, then find charging in your area. Charging may vary. Charge for 2 to 3 hours, then hit the open road again. Great for tailgating, yoga retreats, activist rallies, Bitcoin conferences, NFL, Green New Deal. Nike and the National Football League want you to just manifest it. You guys have been so great. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who helped put this together. Another round of applause for Max Kaiser, Giacomo, Kamal and Noor and the entire staff, all the tech guys at the back, they did a great job all weekend. Thank you guys so much. We will see you soon. Good night.
I won't let go again. Got you shackled in my embrace. I'm locked in on you.